Hey, welcome in. Well, young people need responsible guidance from adults. And that means sometimes you got to be the bad guy. Otherwise, kids end up with an unearned sense of entitlement, might even start running with a bad crowd, like CNN. So sometimes, kids just need to hear the unvarnished truth. And that brings us to this headline. As Chappelle torches students to their face at his high school alma mater. After they get mouthy with him. I think he was actually quite restrained here. Let's see. Comedian Dave Chappelle reportedly mocked several students at his high school alma mater while he performed there on Tuesday after the students got mouthy with him in front of the crowd. Now that's gotta just be annoying as hell, right? And you know what they were getting mouthy about too. Social justice garbage. And it's gotta be particularly irritating because, he's just volunteering his time for this, right? He performed in front of nearly 600 students during a surprise visit to DC's Duke Ellington School of the Arts, which came after the school reportedly canceled a fundraiser involving Chappelle after some leftists complained about jokes that he made about transgender people during his The Closer special on Netflix. And if you watch that special, it is not anti-trans. When you're making jokes about everybody, you're not singling anybody out. And to me, it seemed to be an appeal to see the humanity inside of people as individuals, as opposed to just seeing people as groups, which I consider to be, again, humanism, as opposed to race Marxism. But anyway, let's see. One of the students told Chappelle during a question and answer session that he was a bigot. He said, quote, "I'm 16 and I think you're childish. You handled it like a child. Spoken like a child." Spoken like a 16-year-old. Unfortunately, somebody told this kid that he knows something about life. Which, spoiler alert, you don't. Not at 16. Anyway, Chappelle responded, "My friend, with all due respect, I don't believe you could make one of the decisions I have to make on a given day." Which I think is pretty restrained and respectful. And just consider, he's taking time out to go and do something nice for students, only to have his generosity thrown petulantly back in his face. Anyway, Politico reported that Chappelle responded to another hostile question from a student by mocking their talent level, openly stating that he was better than they were. There were no recordings of the event, though, because Chappelle's team made the students lock their phones in special pouches before he spoke. Quote, "I'm better than every instrumentalist, artist, no matter what art you do in this school. Right now, I'm better than all of you. I'm sure that will change. I'm sure you'll be household names soon." But, what is not true about that? He is better than them. He spent his life working on his art. It takes time. It takes experience. Even if you're a prodigy, you're not going to be as good as Chappelle because you just simply haven't had time to become better. And that says nothing about the future. Let's see. Another student reportedly shouted without evidence, quote, "Your comedy kills." To which Chappelle responded, quote, "N-word are killed every day. The media's not here, right?" Yeah, because I think it's probably the last thing you'd expect in this situation, doing what he's doing, is to get pushback from a bunch of kids that he's taking time out to do something nice for. And you have to wonder, where does this come from? Your comedy kills. Is this coming from the school itself? Because no kid, it's obviously absurd. A kid's not just going to come up with that by themselves. So it's social media. It's probably the culture at the school itself. Making kids hysterical is not doing kids any favors. It's just lying to them to push a political agenda. Let's see, a spokesperson for Chappelle mocked a few who complained that Chappelle, who is black, used the N-word, saying, "Dave is putting the school on the map." Yes, again, he's taking his time to do something for them. Let's see, one of the students who was apparently antagonistic towards Chappelle complained to Politico that the comedian had more power than they did, and that he knew they were nervous to call him out. Here we go, the power dynamics, right? Everything is a struggle between power dynamics, between oppressors and oppressed. For God's sake, it's not like he kidnapped the kids and took them to China and made them work in a sweatshop making the same sneakers that they're all wearing. Again, the kids didn't come up with this on their own. Somebody's teaching them this. Probably the teachers in the school, sadly. Which makes it surprising they had him there at all. So anyway, let's see what this student is whining about. Quote, he could tell we were nervous. It was a huge power imbalance. There we go again. Power imbalance of this grown man and his camera crew. Of these 14 to 18-year-olds without their phones. My God, they didn't have their phones for what, an hour? Just high school kids. It seems to me that the message from Chappelle there was basically, look, you're not as important as you think you are. And you don't know as much as you think you know, which is a good message for teenagers because they don't and they aren't. Because life is unforgiving and recognizing that you've got more to learn is an advantage. That's not cruelty. But again, this huge power imbalance, these kids are getting indoctrinated. That's what's happening. So it looks like the school previous to this had actually been engaging in a little bit of cancel culture regarding Chappelle. It says a spokesperson for Chappelle said the comedian wanted forgiveness from the students over the school postponing an event to name its theater after him in response to the reaction that leftists had to his Netflix special. He said these kids deserve an F for forgiveness, and that's from the spokesperson, but give them space to grow. They are going to say things that are immature. Well, give them space to grow. Into what, communists? But really, you have to feel bad for the kids that complained. I'm assuming most of the kids there actually enjoyed it and didn't have a problem, and it was a thrill for them, as it should be. But I do feel bad for the kids that complain and are genuinely feeling really upset because they're starting from a terrible place. Because they haven't been given the tools to succeed in life, just to be happy, right? If you've been doomed to go through life without any self-accountability or any introspection, or ever having any sense that you might be the one in the wrong, that's not a recipe for a happy life. But anyway, that's all I got to say about that. Please subscribe, like, and share. That really helps me out. If you just like to listen, there's the podcast Radio Baloney. It's on pretty much every platform. If you look for it, you will find it. Thank you very much. I'll see you next time.